This watch has changed the game for me. Seriously, this watch has broken me. Welcome back to Awkward Horology, all you watch nerds. I hope that you are all safe and well. And today we're going to be doing an unboxing, but not a full review. Why am I not going to do a full review? Well, because this is a higher end luxury watch, and instead of doing the unboxing and review that I've done in the past with some of these more expensive watches, I actually want to take my time with this watch before I fully review it. I'm going to give it Christmas, and then in the new year I'm going to do a full review. But today I couldn't contain my excitement. I have to show you this watch and do an unboxing at the very least. Now, what watch have I got today? It is a Grand Seiko GMT. It is the SBGN027. It is the successor for the wildly popular 9F quartz GMT watches that was released. This one is a updated model. It features a screw down crown and 200 meters of water resistance, which is an upgrade from the previous model. It also has a date at 4 o'clock, more on that later. And I think the watch itself looks gorgeous. It looks good in pictures, but it looks much better in hand. So interestingly enough, I didn't set out with the idea of buying this watch. I was actually really interested in a few different models. I'd been clear for a while that I was looking for a proper GMT, not a traveler's or office GMT, just what I would call a proper GMT, a nice solid quality watch. Didn't matter if it was callers or true. There were a few different options I looked at. I looked at Oris, the Aquis. I looked at the Breitlings. Again, I know that I'd sold one originally, but I was looking to see if the Chronomats would work well on me. I did try it on in an AD. Very blingy, not quite me. I did also try on the Longines Zulu Spirit 39mm, and that was gorgeous. But at almost £4,000, and with a very limited budget and nothing on the second-hand market through the eBay authentication process, that one stayed away from my bank balance, thank God. However, I did happen to try this on, and as soon as I put it on, I knew there was something really, really special about it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is the case size, it's a very compact case size, or if it was the Zaratsu polishing that you have on this watch, or whether it's just the prestige of Seiko and all of the great stuff that Grand Seiko are doing. But I felt a connection with this watch that I haven't felt in a very, very long time. And that's something that I really wanted to share with you today. So we are going to start as we mean to go on. I'm going to go through the specifications of this watch as I would do with any unboxing / review. And I'm going to give you a very mini initial thoughts on this watch as well, because I've had this for a couple of weeks now. First of all, this is fully constructed of 316L stainless steel. You have a screw-in case back, anti-reflective AR coating on sapphire crystal covering the dial. Lumi Bright on the hands and indices. It's not much Lumi Bright in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, it is pretty good. In terms of case size, you have a 39mm in diameter, a lug-to-lug of 45.9mm, and a thickness of just 12.3mm. Bandwidth is 19mm, and I will talk a bit more about that in a moment. The caliber for this is, of course, the venerable 9F86 quartz GMT movement, which has an accuracy of plus or minus 10 seconds per year. That puts it in the Bullavaluna pilot territory in terms of how accurate it is, but the 9F quartz movement is a little bit more refined, and there is something a little special about this. 200 meters of water resistance. You have screw down crown, as I mentioned before, a 24-hour hand dial, a sub dial that also marks 24-hour indices as well for extra clarity. You also have a date complication at the 4 o'clock, and the full weight of it with all the links put in is 151 grams. For me, to get the perfect fit, I had to remove 3 full links and have the half links left in, and it's given me a perfect fit, and I have a 7¼ inch wrist. So the first thing I'm going to touch on very quickly is the lug width. So the lug width is 19mm, which 2 to 3 years ago I would have absolutely hated because it's awkward. It's not a traditional strap size, which means that you can't put this on other straps very easily. However, times have changed, and now, you know, in 2023, there are plenty of options that you can get to put your watch on a 19mm strap. I picked up two options from Watch Gecko. I picked up a sailcloth, rubber sailcloth strap, which is awesome and has really vintage vibes, and it works really well with this watch. I also bought a NATO style Zulu strap, which is a grey sort of colour, which again picks out the watch colour of this really well. But there are plenty of other places to look at. You've got Bark and Jack, you've got other websites, even AliExpress now sell 19mm straps. So 19mm is not as big a deal or as big a deal breaker as it used to be. So the last thing that I'm going to go over before going on to my, I guess, impressions of the watch is the movement. The movement is the caliber 9F86 and it's the GMT function of the 9F85. It is accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds per year. The battery life is approximately 3 years and it's a very simple change of battery, which means maintenance is going to be pretty low. Now, the service history of this watch goes for 50 years. However, service intervals incorrectly were told in some other videos by other YouTubers. It is still a regular 3 to 5 year review and service interval, but the lifetime expectancy of the watch is at least 50 years. So I hope that clears it up for a lot of different sort of people who thought that it was a 50-year service interval. It's not quite that, but it still is rather impressive. The 9F quartz movement is essentially a hand finished quartz movement. It is incredibly accurate and reliable. I'm going to go into so much more detail with it on my review when I do this in full in the new year. Now, I've already said and hinted on this review that this watch wears absolutely perfectly, and it really does. It is the ultimate watch for me. It is incredibly well finished. It shines from different angles. Yes, the press photos do make it look a little bit dull, but that's not really how it is when it's on wrist. It just transforms and hugs your wrist. Think Rolex Explorer 1 and how that sort of looks a bit dull in pictures, but when it's on your wrist, it's a very different story. It's the same with this one. And speaking about the Rolex Explorer as well, a lot of people are quick to say that this is just a homage of the Rolex Explorer 2. And you know what? If people think that, that's absolutely fine. However, you need to also consider that the Glycine Airman GMT is pretty much what all GMTs are based on that have a steel band. You've got Christopher Ward, which do the same, but also with Seiko, they originally had a Navitimer GMT, which has just been re-released for their anniversary. And again, there's a lot of design cues from there that are taken and applied with the Seiko, with this Grand Seiko. So for me, I don't think there's any issues whatsoever when you're coming to homage watches. I think this is a typical Seiko design, especially now that they've moved the date complication from the 3 o'clock to the 4 o'clock and have the screw down crown. Initially, I didn't think I'd be a fan of that date window, but it is very discreet and it actually looks quite nice on wrist as well. I don't feel as if it's out of place, and I really thought it would be. You've also got a signed crown on this watch as well. You've got polishing on the sides, and they're so good, the polishing. It's Zaratsu polishing. You can really see your own reflection in that. You can see the level of detailing is just class. And you have a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces all over this watch, which just makes it shine and bounce with the light as it comes in. It really is something incredibly special. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. This is a very quick unboxing to show you this watch. Tune in next week. I'm going to be starting to look at Christmas crackers and Christmas lists that you should be thinking about if you're buying watches for loved ones, or sneakily if you want your loved ones to buy watches for you. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon.